they are going to share. I mean, the structure of that, and that can be done um, with two different ways. One is called document type definition, DTD in short, or the other one is XML schema definition, or in short XSD. So what basically these um, mechanisms help you to do that is it will tell what are the tags which you are going to use. What is the order of those tags? I mean, when you use tags, there can be some tags which can be used only inside another tag. So if it is nested tags, what order we will use it, that information. And are there any attributes associated with those tags, that information. And if the attribute is defined, does it have any default value or it is user defined value? If it is user defined value, then are there any restrictions on the tech content? It can only take number or it can only take text content like that. Or if you are saying it's a number, whether there is a limit on the number of digits what you can use in that, such kind of restrictions. So these are the details what the structure of an XML document is going to store. So looking into the structure, and then if you get an XML document, you can always say whether that XML document follows the rule what you have specified. Okay, you have studied compiler design, right? Or you are studying compiler design, students?
Yes, sir.
So what exactly the compiler design talks about? I mean, they talks about a syntax or a grammar tree for a language, and then when you give a program for the compiler checks against that grammar tree so that whether you have followed the syntax of that particular language. Same way, this DTD or XSD is like your grammar tree. It says these are the valid tags. These are the order of which those tags can appear in your document. And then these are the attributes. These attributes have got default values. These attributes have got user defined values with certain restrictions. It may be in terms of length. It may be in terms of uh, content, or maybe it is following a specific pattern. Okay, so these are the information what we will discuss in a DTD or an XSD. Okay, so we will start off with DTD. So what basically we are supposed to do at the end of these sessions is we should be knowing how to write a DTD for a specific scenario. So a scenario will be given to you that between two users, this is the kind of document what they are going to share, which has these tags or these information has to be stored, and up to you to decide whether you can use a tag or an attribute. I hope you are able to understand that. You have studied HTML, sometimes you will be able to understand it better. In HTML, you have an option to make the content of a particular part, I mean text content, in specific color. Okay, so which means that color of a text content is a feature of that information or data. So in HTML, what is designed is color, size, what is the type of font you are going to use, whether any specific extra features to be added, all those things have been made as attributes of a tag called font. So color, size, type, all these are attributes. Now that is the way HTML is defined. But you, if suppose you are allowed to use your own tags, then you can say instead of having these many attributes for a particular tag, I can also choose to have a tag itself. So font color is a tag, font size is another tag, font type is another tag. Instead of having them as attributes, you can even make them as tags. Now, why I'm talking about that? Because in the question, if if a sentence is mentioned saying that this is a bill and it should have a bill number, so I can make bill as a tag and bill number as an attribute. One way to look into it. Somebody else may think that, okay, bill can be one tag and I can have a sub tag under that called bill number. That is also fine. Okay. So there is no such a restriction that this has to be used on this particular format only. And that's the same problem what we are going to face when different users make XML document. See, I gave a question. Someone makes it as bill as an tag and bill number as an attribute. Next person makes it as bill as first tag and bill number as a sub tag. So it is two different types of XML documents. So to avoid that only, we are using a structure to be defined first and compare against that structure whether the document follows that structure or not. If it follows, we call them as a well-formed document or a valid document. Okay. So that's where so none of your answers can go wrong. But if you are asked to follow a particular structure and then make an XML document, you need to follow that structure properly. So writing DTD, I can make it in any other ways. N different ways I can write a DTD. But once you write a DTD, then your XML document can be formed only in one particular way. Okay, so we will first try to see what are the ways in which I can write it DTD. I mean, like building blocks of that. So the advantages of DTD is it defines the structure and it allows you to store the data in a consistent format, specify the elements that can be present in an XML document, the attributes and their arrangement. These are the things what the DTD talks about. So XML allows you to create your own DTDs for application. That's what we've said. We can decide upon it and then we can make a DTD. Once you make a DTD, your XML documents, whatever you create, should follow that particular structure. So basically, creating your own DTD gives you complete control over the process of checking the content and structure of XML documents created for an application. And that process is called as validation. So making sure that an XML document follows the DTD what you have created is referred as validation. Remember that point. And if an XML document follows the DTD properly, we will call that XML document as a valid XML document. Valid XML document means that XML document is following the DTD what you have specified. Structure wise, it is correct. Okay. That's what the last point says. XML documents conform to a DTD are considered to be valid documents. Okay. Now we will jump into writing DTD. Okay. So the basic building block of a DTD is elements. Okay. Now we are calling till now tags in case of an XML document. Okay. Now a tag is represented as an element in a DTD. Okay. So element is the keyword I'm going to use. An exclamation mark I will use to indicate that it is a DTD representation. Why? Because your XML document is also going to be the same way how if you look into a DTD. That means all the content you will be writing within angle brackets. So it is all kind of tags you will appear. So to identify that it is a DTD document, I mean by look, you are putting an exclamation mark before the declaration. So for each tag, I need to create a declaration of an element in my DTD. Now, what are the parts of the declaration is? Element is the keyword I will use. After that, you will say element name. Suppose if I am creating a tag called bill, then element name will be bill. And in bracket, I should write content type. Okay, what is the type of content that particular tag will take? Whether it will take text content or some other what you call tags it is going to take as inside that it will specify. So how to write the name of a element? The name consists of at least one letter. A letter may be uppercase or lowercase. An element name may start with underscore. One or more letters, digits, hyphens, underscores, or full stops can follow the initial letter. So the first thing should be a letter or an underscore. After the letter, you can have more letters, digits, hyphens, underscores, or full stops. Space and tabs are not allowed. Only two punctuation signs, that is hyphen and period, are allowed. Underscore, hyphen, and dot. These three things only will come other than letters or numbers. First thing should be a letter or an underscore. After the first letter, you can have other letters, numbers, hyphens, underscores, or full stops. That is the rule for making a proper element name. There are three types of elements. Okay. We have three different types of tags. That's why we are going to have three different types of elements here. The first type is a tag which doesn't have any content in between. Okay. If you have seen HTML pages, you will be able to easily relate it. You have a tag called B to make the content bold. How you will do that? You will enclose the sentence within this tag. So your tag is always have got two parts normally. Starting part is called the start tag part and the end tag part. So name of the tag written inside angle brackets is the start tag. Same name of the tag with a slash in front of that written inside an angle bracket is referred as ending tag. So between start tag and end tag, whatever we write, that is the content of the tag. Okay. So now based on that understanding, we'll try to see three different types of tags. One, empty tag. It doesn't have any content in between. Okay. The other one is unrestricted. So unrestricted is you can contain any element declared elsewhere in a DTD. And container can contain character data and other elements. Okay. So three different types. We will try to take an example. Okay. Normally the div tag or span tag, SPAN tag or div tags are called container tags. Why? Because within them, I mean, as content of that will be always some other tags. You wanted to highlight a particular area in an HTML page. We will mark that area using div or span, and then to div, I can have attributes specified, like background color or something. Then the highlighting will happen. So those are container tags. They never have any text content in between, but they will have only other tags. Okay, same way. There are tags which can take content alone. Like say, for example, body. It can have attributes as well as some other content in between. And then there are tags which doesn't have any content at all. Say, for example, HR tag, a horizontal line you wanted to display. HR is the tag what we use in HTML. Okay. Or BR, break, a line space should be given between the content. These tags are empty tags. They doesn't have any content in between. Okay. So same way in XML also, three different types of tags are there. One is an empty one, no content. Other one is contain anything. And the third one is it can have character data or other elements. So same way, three types of elements are here. Now, how to declare an empty element? Okay. An empty element, just specify the name of that element and use the keyword empty. Okay. So I'm defining a tag called BR. So just now we spoke about break. Okay. BR to give a line space. That is an empty tag. So suppose if I am defining such a tag in my XML document, I need to specify that it is an empty tag in my DTD. So what I did, exclamation mark element, so indicating that it is an element declaration. Name of the element is BR, and to indicate that it is empty, we will write empty empty keyword in the second part, that is after the name of the element. and close that. Okay. So this will be my what you call declaration statement. So element, element name, and empty keyword within the square bracket, sorry, angle bracket if you write, that is how we declare an element of empty nature. Clear?
Yes, sir.
How we can have unrestricted elements. There is only one difference. Instead of writing empty, we will write ANY, any. That's again a keyword in DTD, which indicates that it can contain any type of data. So there is no restrictions. It can have text data, it can have numeric data, it can have some other tags also. Everything is fine. Okay. So you can see an example, note, it can have anything inside that. So that's why any is the type of that element. Now we have seen empty tags, unrestricted tags or unrestricted elements. Now we will see container elements. Okay. So same element, element name, and in bracket, you will mention what are the sub tags what you are going to use and in what order. Okay. Say for example, I am making a note and in the note, this note is to whom? So two part is there, from part is there, heading and body. These are the four parts of that note. So when you define the note tag, I need to specify another tag which specifies to whom this note should go, from whom this note is coming, and what is the heading of this note, and what is the body part of this note. So four subtags are there, and they come in the same order. Okay. So now suppose if I am making an XML document, the XML document should have a tag called note, and inside that note tag, I should have two tags, from tag, heading tag, and body tag. Okay. So we have seen three different types of elements, the empty elements, the unrestricted elements, and finally the container elements. Okay. Suppose if I am having only one child tag, then I will mention only that tag name. If I have multiple, separate it using comma. Now, when you define a container tag, you are telling that there are four child tags, to, from, heading, and body. Okay. So you need to specify what is the type of elements these four also, which means that when I define a container tag, my job is not done just by specifying what are the child tags. I need to declare those child tag also. So in our example, we said note is the parent tag which contains four child tags, to, from, heading, and body. We wanted to now declare these four tags also. So that is been done in the next four lines. The to tag contains text data, or you can say character content. It is called parsable character data. The short form is PC data. Okay. So everything is some text content I am going to have, character content I am going to have. So PC data is a valid keyword to indicate that it is a type of content and symbol is used. Okay. So otherwise, if you just write PC data without hash, then PC data will become a child tag to 2. Then you need to declare what is PC data means. But PC data, what I'm using here is a built-in keyword to indicate that the content is a text content. The to is also PC data, from is also PC data, heading is also PC data, and body also is of the type PC data. So now only my DTD declaration is complete for the element note. Why? Because note has told that to, from, heading, and body are four different subchild tags, sorry, subtags available inside it. So you need to specify to, from, heading, and body also. That is what we have done now. Okay. So please make a note of these three cases. That is declaring empty elements. That example you note down. After that, We will note down unrestricted element, then container tags or container elements. Note down that. After that, I'll give you a question. You have to write the DTD for that. This is copied, students.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This is unrestricted element. The keyword any is used. Please make a note of that. This is also copied, right?
Yes, sir.
This is the declaration for container elements. In bracket, you will be mentioning the subtag names separated using comma. The same order, the tag should appear in the XML document also. The example you can see at the bottom.
Sir.
Yes, tell me.
In this syntax, we have declared two from heading body under the element note, no, sir. So can the same be declared separately, or is it like once we declare note and two, we cannot declare note and from? We should be declaring everything in a single statement. And yeah, is it like that, or it can be declared separately?
You are talking about the subtags. Are they need to be declared in the same order? Is what you're asking?
No, sir. Like in the same statement, the first statement
These
says
are no individual statements. If you see, if the example what you're seeing, that they are individual statements. This is my first statement. It ends here. Angle bracket is done. This is the next statement. So this can be in any order, not an issue. I mean, if I
No,
declare
sir,
these four,
not that, sir.
yes,
Can you go to the previous slide?
yeah,
Here, the statement is written like the element content model can be declared like the first statement or the second statement. So I
yes,
want to declare the example in the first style, like element node 2, element node from, element
no,
body,
no, no, no.
element node body, and element node heading, something like that. I was asking whether we can make multiple declarations regarding to the same element, or should we stick to a single statement if the all the childs are belonging to the same element?
Yeah, you need to stick to the second option only. In this case,
Okay, okay.
what the
Okay,
example
sir.
said, I mean, what the highlighted thing says is either you can have single child
Single
or
child?
multiple
Okay,
child.
sir.
Okay,
Okay,
that's
sir.
it.
Okay, sir.
So the first case shows an as an example where the element has got only one child tag, that is child one. In the second case, the element has multiple child tags, child one, child two, child three, and so on. That's it. So in case of node, it has four subtags. So all the four needs to be mentioned when I am declaring element node. You cannot do it the way how first one is mentioned, like note to, and the second declaration will be note from. No, that is not accepted. Then what will happen is it will be considered as four declarations for note, and only the first one will be considered, other three will be ignored. That will be an error in your DTD declaration. Okay,
Okay, sir. Thank you.
this is how you declare note and then the corresponding subtags or child elements. Okay, you have copied this.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now we spoke about container tag, container elements, which can have child elements. Okay, now this one talks about how many times the child element can appear in the container element. Okay, so say for example, message is a child tag of not. This is another example. Okay, not to confuse with the previous one. There in note was having to, from, body and heading and all those things. Here it is only message. Okay, now when you declare it as the example given there, element note message, it says that the message is a child tag which will appear once inside note tag. Okay, so this is only one occurrence. So if you mention the name only once, then it is one occurrence. Suppose I wanted to have one or more number of times that needs to be appear, then I can say name of the child element plus symbol I can put. This you might have been familiar with the regular, this NFA,
Ye-
DFA when you are studying
Yes,
the
sir.
regular
Regular
expression.
expressions.
In that you have seen star and then plus, same rule. Okay, plus if you say, which means that the sub element is going to appear one or more number of times. Zero or more, it is star. Same rule. Message star means it may appear or it may not appear. It may appear one time, two time, or more number of times. Anything is fine. This is zero or one occurrence. So we have seen one occurrence at least, one or more, zero or more. This it exactly says that either it will occur once or not occur. In that case, it is going to occur zero or one time. In that case, a question mark is what we will use. Can occur or it may not occur at all. That is the third case. This is like I have to from header. Okay, and previously we said body. Now I'm saying either it can be body or it can be message. Okay, so if I'm declaring an XML document where it has to from header and message, that is also valid. Another XML document says note with to from header and body, that is also valid. Why? Because the fourth child element is either message or body. Okay, a slash symbol is used to separate those two tags. Then either of the tags or elements can appear in your XML document. Make a note of this, declaring either or content. Okay. Now this
Yes.
is talking about how to declare an element with mixed content. That means note, we said it can contain child elements to, from, header, and message. Now I'm saying that it can contain PC data also. So it says either it can contain PC data, or it can contain to, or it can contain from, or it can contain header, or it can contain message. And this whole combination can occur zero or more number of times. Okay, so note with some text content inside that. That is a valid one. Note with to alone, that is also okay. Note with from, that is also okay. Note with header, that is also okay. Note with message, that is also okay. Now note doesn't appear at all, that is also fine because it is zero or more occurrence. So mixed content means you are now saying it can have child tag as well as PC data content. DTD is comparatively simpler compared to XML schema definition to write DTD as well as to understand. So just remember these declarations part. It will be easy for you to write down the DTD. Whereas XSD, little more complicated. You need to learn little more data types corresponding to XSD. Okay, so pay attention to DTD part properly. So till now, we were talking about declaring tags in an XML. What is the corresponding thing here? So elements are corresponding to tags, and element, if we will declare elements for every tags what we are going to use. Okay. Now, other than tags, what we have in an XML is attributes. Okay. So in DTD, attributes are also declared. So for that, there is a keyword called ATT list. Okay, attribute list. So I can specify this attribute I am specifying for which particular element. So at list, the first parameter will be the name of the element to which this particular attribute is attached. And then what is the name of that attribute? Then type and default value. Okay, we'll see an example, then we will understand it better. It says payment is the element name, type is the attribute name, and it contains C data, character data, and by default, the value is check. Okay. So in that case, now one thing what you have to remember is in case of an element, the character data was called as PC data. And whenever you were writing in bracket with hash in the front. In case of attributes, the corresponding to PC data, we have C data here, and we just write that, and the default value we put it in double quotes. So the actual XML tag will look like this: payment tag with an attribute called type, and the default value is check. Okay, pay attention again. ATT list. What is the element name? What is the attribute name? What is the type? And what is the default value? Make a note of that, guys. These are the different types of attributes. Content, C data is what we discussed. It can be ID, it can be reference to that something, it can be a token, it can be an entity, it can be another XML predefined value and sort of things. So those are the possible types what you can think about it. The default value part, either I can say value, that means that value will appear there. Hash required if it says, which means that that attribute should be filled when you are using the XML. Implied means attribute is not required. Fixed means that attribute's value is fixed. So you will be providing a value there. That value only should appear in your XML document. Example for a default attribute value, square empty, that is the empty tag. Attribute list for square is width, C data, and 0 is the default value. Okay. So now square width equal to 100, if I say, that is accepted because 0 is the default value, but I am giving a value 100. But if I say person number, C data required means, now when I am writing the XML document, number attribute is required with its value. Okay. Person alone, if I say, that means that attribute is not used, it's an invalid XML document. Implied, if I say I may or may not use it, because facts with the value also will be accepted. Without facts, attribute also will be accepted. And finally, fixed. So I'm saying that company attributes name should be Microsoft. So first one is a valid XML document because sender company is equal to Microsoft. Sender company is equal to W3 schools, that will not be taken because the fixed keyword is used and the value for that is Microsoft. So you cannot have any other values in your XML document. Okay, we will continue from here in the next class. Okay, we have to talk about enumerated attribute values as well as types of DTDs inline as well as external DTDs. So we will see how to do that. I can write the DTD as part of my XML document itself, or I can have a DTD as a separate file with an extension .dtd and attach that into my XML document. Okay, so anyways, we can do that. We will learn that part in the next class. Okay. Thank you, students. You guys can leave now. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.